to Caregiving in You, a program dedicated to serving the needs of American family caregivers and their loved ones. I'm your host, Jazz Perlman. Finding a place for mom and dad in their final years can be a daunting task, no matter how good your intentions. Brochures with beautiful pictures of attentive staff and smiling residents presents a scenic and serene portrait of a smooth-running facility, but courtroom and newspaper accounts of facilities charged with serious health and safety violations tell a different story. Abuse of the elderly does happen, not only in private homes, but also in all kinds of facilities for long-term care. That it happens at all is shocking. That it happens with such frequency is an appalling national disgrace. Every person in our nation and in the world faces the prospect of growing old and perhaps frail. We cannot assume that it cannot happen to me. Today you will meet Mary E., a disabled senior citizen who resides in an upscale New York nursing home where she was routinely abused emotionally, physically, and perhaps worst of all, mentally. Some of the scenes you are about to see are graphic and not suitable for children. We have an interesting show planned for you today, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Mary is an 80-year-old resident at a New York long-term care facility. For over 10 years, she has experienced abuse and neglect at the hands of the very people charged with her care. Her tiny room has been converted into a dungeon. When you enter her darkened room, the smell of urine and feces immediately smacks you in the face. Within a year of her arrival at the nursing home, she lost the use of her hands due to the ravages of rheumatoid arthritis. She can no longer stand or properly use her hands, leaving her unable to feed herself, wash her face, or comb her hair. She is unable to wear shoes because her feet are swollen and no one at the nursing home is willing to clip her overgrown toenails. Mary's hair had not been combed or washed in 10 years. Her hair had fused into one huge dreadlock, as if she had been homeless. Mary fell frequently because she is unable to safely move herself from her bed to her wheelchair and then to the toilet. On the table beside her bed are cups and bottles of her urine. Stuffed under her bed are sheets and clothing, also soiled with her feces. Frequently, instead of mopping up the urine that has leaked in large puddles all over her floor, the nursing home simply puts a yellow caution sign warning visitors and workers to watch their step. The pain in her hands and throughout her body is almost unbearable. In December, Mary suffered a catastrophic fall from the broken wheelchair provided by the nursing home, which they refused to replace. The impact of the fall was so great that her entire knee appears to have turned purple from the large hematoma directly under her skin. In Mary's earlier life, she was a registered nurse who graduated at the top of her class. She worked at a large New York hospital for over 40 years. She was also the owner of a spacious two-family home along with several pieces of rental property. One day, while gardening in her backyard, she fell and broke her leg, resulting in a lengthy hospitalization. After returning home, she was unable to keep up with her normal household chores, causing her house to fall into disrepair. Mary experienced 2 home robberies where she was not only robbed but molested twice. Like many other senior citizens who experience sexual and financial abuse, she was too ashamed to alert police, family, and friends. Fearing for her safety, she fled her home and lived in her car for well over a year. While living in her car, Mary suffered a debilitating stroke, causing her to be hospitalized for a month. After her release from the hospital, she decided to go to a nursing home where she thought she would be safe and cared for. In a recent incident of more aggressive retaliation against Mary for again reporting to the authorities about the abuse that she was sustaining at the nursing home, she was again taken away by ambulance. 6 policemen arrived and took Mary in her wheelchair to a nearby hospital for a psychiatric evaluation. She was not allowed to carry a sweater, purse, or shoes in the snow as she was carted away. Later that evening, an ambulance driver who was alarmed about the situation asked Mary if there was anyone he could call on her behalf. Mary's estranged family members lived far away in other parts of the country. Because of her childhood and teen abuse, she hated and avoided her family. Giving the name of her niece, Olivia, the ambulance driver called her family and alerted them to the devastating circumstances that Mary was trying to survive. Prior to leaving for New York, Olivia contacted Caregiving and You, an organization that she had learned about on the internet. I met with Olivia at the nursing home to visit with Mary. Sadly, Olivia's trip did not go as planned. The nursing home administrators refused to let Mary return to Florida with her niece, declaring that Mary was legally incapable of making her own decisions. Her family would have to go through surrogate court to become her legal guardian. Despite being overjoyed to be reunited with her niece, Mary's fear and distrust of people made the meeting brief and unpleasant. She was embarrassed at her appearance and the situation that she found herself in. She appeared to be ungrateful and combative with Olivia, who had flown across the country to help her.
Change your mind that you want my help. I understand now. God is telling you to step back. You said it at the hospital in front of people that you do not want me involved in your stuff. So all I can do is give love.
I didn't say
You
that.
told me yesterday that I effed up your entire life. I didn't. I can't.
When did I say that?
Yesterday, sitting right there.
No.
This is not a joke.
Oh, please. But you know, that was very disappointing.
So I know how to.
Wait. But don't go there. Don't go there. 'Cause I was very
I'm not kidding. I didn't joke around to come here. I had a job to do to come and get my aunt, and I did it.
But here's the point.
You tell me I got a big mouth or whatever. I don't.
No, but see.
I get the job done. With all, I was telling you to stop talking. We had policemen watching us. Old people.
It wasn't.
Jasmine.
The police
I
are
don't
there.
want to argue.
They had 3 criminals there, and the police are there for the criminals. They ain't got nothing to do with the patient.
Okay, I can't take it at all. I can't. I know just what I can take and I can't. I'm not qualified to help you other than sending you stuff. When you make up in your mind that you want to have me to help you really, other than just getting you food and I'll get you a phone when I go back and this and that and the other, I'll do that. Other than that, I know when to step back. I'm very logical. This is not something you... Exactly.
No,
because I just want to help and you just want to go into a whole bunch of stuff that I don't have time to go in. I'm 64. Look how bad I look. I'm old. I don't have time to play. Okay, so we gotta go. And I just love you.
No, that's okay. Jasmine, plug up the phone for me, please, while you're here.
Which phone?
Her phone.
Feeling overwhelmed and powerless, Olivia returned home to Florida the next morning. After Olivia's departure, Caregiving and You decided to assist Mary. We brought her favorite foods, fresh flowers, and comfortable clothing. We cleaned her room, which was filled with clutter, empty fast food containers and filthy linen, and countless cups and bottles of urine. Mary's strong personality and her own background in nursing made her transition to assisted living a challenge. In the 10 years of being there, she was never given a bath. She didn't even own a pair of shoes. Mary's hair had not been combed or washed in 10 years. Her hair had morphed into one huge dreadlock. After considering cutting off all of her dreaded locks, we decided to wash and blow dry her hair. After 3 hours of effort, her appearance began to look normal. Okay, there it goes. All right. So let's start on your hair now. Doesn't it feel good to get your hair shampooed after all this time?
But I always pour water over it down to the depth of it. Yeah, of course.
When did you say the last time you
About
did your
3
hair?
weeks ago, but I didn't try to blow it out. I didn't try to dry it out.
Okay.
And it dried.
Okay, you just hold on.
Oh, you're not using the wind?
You want me to use the wind?
Yeah, let's see what it does.
So how do you feel today, Mary?
A little better, good.
Good.
And I don't have any particular pain all the time.
Uh-huh.
It's a psychological thing that I'm just used to getting around, doing my own thing, and just to be stuck in here.
It's important to be independent, right?
Absolutely. I've been independent all my life. And to be stuck in here?
But everything is going to get a lot better.
No, I got to.
You know, with you living in a nursing home, I think they should take better care of you.
Yeah, but see, they're not going to do that, darling. That's your written law. If you ask to get something done and they don't do it, you got a complaint. But I don't bother them because they think I got money, and people will stand and say, "I'll help you," and they leave it hanging. That means if you want to pay me, because everybody's seen to hear what that man is saying. Now, do you see any different with the wind? Because all of the ladies said that once they put that wind on, their troubles with the hair went away.
Yeah, we're going to put some wind on here. It was a delight helping restore Mary to her former self. After having her hair done, she said it was the first time that she had smiled in years. We obtained an attorney for her who will assist her in resolving her issues of competency, housing, and medical care. It is our goal to help relocate her to a facility that will provide the loving care that she needs and deserves. If you know someone who may be, or if you suspect is being abused by someone in their family or a nursing care facility, don't keep it to yourself. If you are a New York City-based family caregiver, or if you know someone who may be being abused, you can call 311 in the New York City area and report that you are or you know someone who is the victim of elder abuse. Be sure to identify yourself if you are age 60 or older. 311 can assist you in crisis intervention, safety planning, and legal services. For more information about elder abuse, you can visit our website at caregivinginU.com for additional information. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Take a look at my body, look at my hands. There's so much here that I don't understand. Your face saving promises, whispered like prayers. I don't need them. 'Cause I've been treated so wrong, I've been treated so long, as if I'm becoming untouchable. Well, contempt loves the silence, it thrives in the dark, and fine-winding tendrils that strangle the heart. They say that promises sweeten the blow, but I don't need them. No, I don't need them. I've been treated so wrong, I've been treated so long, as if I'm becoming untouchable. I'm the slow dying fly, I'm the frost killing now, sweet turning sour and untouchable.
I don't think people in this country like to talk or think about it.
While we might not want to think about it, the truth is that this man spent the rest of his life in a nursing home, while the home care worker that put him there went free. And this is not an isolated case. The hard truth is, there are more than 500,000 reported cases of elder abuse each year in our country, and an untold number more that never get discovered. Aside from being subjected to physical abuse, emotional abuse, financial abuse, and neglect, an even greater injustice exists for older Americans today. There is still no national definition of what constitutes elder abuse. Many states do not have the resources necessary to investigate and prosecute offenders. In these states, the perpetrators never face the consequences of their actions, and the elders never see justice.
Up next, we will meet James Franklin, a survivor of nursing home abuse. While a patient at a Maryland-based nursing home, James faced neglect and life-threatening bed sores, which caused him to be hospitalized for several months. We will also be joined by attorney Michael Winkleman, who will discuss the hurdles that patients face when filing malpractice claims against healthcare facilities. Stay tuned.
Oh, I love you, miss you.
Yeah,
You've been through a lot.
I just taking it one day at a time, huh? My name is James Franklin, and I'm 57 years old.
James Franklin isn't the man he used to be, weak and bedridden 6 months after his stay at St. Thomas More Nursing Home in Hyattsville for what should have been the road to recovery.
I didn't have no idea that I would still be in the hospital. And for me to be in the hospital has been a tragic change for me.
In May, Franklin was discharged from the hospital and sent to St. Thomas More for rehabilitation, a 230-bed facility. Medical records show he had a sacral ulcer, commonly called a pressure ulcer or bed sore. At that stage, it was small and healing. A month later, he was rushed back to the hospital, the bed sore now nearly as long as a football, covering his back and buttocks with an infection deep into the tissue and muscles. When his wife, Patricia Franklin, saw it,
And I screamed, and then I almost fell to the floor. I never seen nothing like that in my entire life.
the wound had massive gangrene and a foul-smelling discharge, putting him into septic shock when the body's organs begin to shut down.
One of the doctors told me that if they didn't get him there like they did, that he would have died.
Franklin's wife filed a complaint with the Maryland Office of Healthcare Quality. The agency which oversees nursing homes revealed to Fox 5 St. Thomas More is under intense scrutiny. Despite this promotional video on its website showcasing its facilities and a visit from Maryland's Lieutenant Governor touting quality of care, state inspections show a stark contrast. Cited for 60 deficiencies in 2010, another 36 last year, and this year it was cited with 27 deficiencies, nearly triple the state average.
Medication errors, oversight of care plans, writing of care plans, chemical restraints, violation of resident rights.
The repeated violations prompted the state to list St. Thomas More as a special focus facility, a nationwide Medicare list of nursing homes with a history of persistent poor quality care. Out of Maryland's more than 200 nursing homes, it's only one of 2 on the list, and the only one that has failed to show improvement over 19 months. The state has given St. Thomas More until next March to make progress or be shut down. Meanwhile, investigators have received numerous complaints at the facility this year, including a complaint 3 months ago when a patient died.
They failed to respond appropriately in an emergency situation and failed to provide the proper care to this patient, which resulted in the subcutaneous emphysema.
So does this patient, in your opinion, did this patient die as a result of improper medical care?
That's how it appears, yes.
Court documents show that's not the only allegation of deadly neglect. Last year, the nursing home settled this medical malpractice lawsuit for an undisclosed amount in the 2005 death of a patient from infected bed sores, the same kind of infection that nearly killed James Franklin.
I've seen it more times than I care to tell you in the 15 years I've been doing this.
Attorney Michael Winkleman handles medical malpractice claims but has no connection to these cases. Based on his experience, bed sores shouldn't nearly kill you.
So the medical community would likely suggest there are certain extreme circumstances where this would happen. But in our view, if patient safety is priority number one, this should never happen.
But in Maryland, the legal hurdles to file a medical malpractice lawsuit and financial caps on jury awards make it difficult to hold bad nursing homes accountable.
Well, you can hurt someone, but if you don't hurt them badly enough, then you're okay, because we can't do anything about it. And that's wrong.
The state has hit St. Thomas More with sanctions and thousands of dollars in fines.
And it hasn't worked.
No, it hasn't worked.
NMS Healthcare, which owns the nursing home, refused a request for an interview, but in a statement said St. Thomas More is currently appealing deficiencies that were cited, and no further comment is appropriate. The company boasted Medicare's website shows the number of nurses on staff is well above average, but left out Medicare ranked it overall below average, and on health inspections, much below average.
We're not seeing enough progress. That is correct.
So again, I have to ask, are patients compromised?
There's a concern that yes, that they are.
The state found no evidence of neglect in James Franklin's case, but the Franklins are not convinced.
They absolutely should be shut down.
Given the nursing home's continued problems, state regulators say they are on track to shut it down.
Most people think of elder abuse as somebody beating an older person.
This is one of the most invisible crimes.
It's very difficult for me because I'm very friendly, and I think that that's why they took advantage of that.
They'd always steal everything, whether it was money or jewelry.
I think one of the things that we bump up against with elder abuse is shame, embarrassment, capacity.
There is elder abuse occurring in probably every zip code in the United States.
Elder abuse is a dark mark on our humanity.
We're all going to get old, and we're all going to be potential victims.
We're so conscious of all kinds of human rights, and this is an extremely basic human right.
Elder abuse is a national problem that's only going to get worse with the aging of the population. We need to have a systemic approach to this so that when our children or our children's children become senior citizens, that they don't face the same abuse and neglect that our seniors face today.
My aunt has always been the type of person that adapted to whatever was around her. Very, very strong woman. And nothing much scares her very badly. She just adapts.
I don't need nobody. She's the only one to take care of me.
My aunt's son, who is the grandson's father, actually was having some financial problems and needed to sell their home very quickly. The mother had already died a couple years before. They moved in here, then he died, and the grandkids were left behind. And then as they got older, things just got even more wilder with their involvement with things, drugs and such. So that even though we had seen a lot of things going on or a lot of activity, people in and out, we kept checking and she thought everything was still kind of fine. But one day my mom came home from visiting her and said, "Do you know that your aunt has a security door on her bedroom now?"
When we went to the house, we found that there was a metal security grate type door on her bedroom. So it was a very remarkable situation.
We had spent hundreds, thousands of hours in the last 3 years here dealing with crime directly related with this house and kind of in concentric circles away from the house.
They had informed me that the city of Hayward was looking to take her home, sell her home, put her in a rest home, and that in my opinion would kill her. She wouldn't have her home, she wouldn't have her garden. So I came over, I asked her to come and have lunch with me so I could get her away from all the busyness that was here. And I told her, do you realize what's going on? And she was starting to realize what was and the potential of happening. And I asked her, can I help you, if you allow me to? And she said yes.
So the very next opportunity we had to do this problem housing abatement program called SMASH, we brought it here. We found Miss Bastion, the homeowner. We found her grandson, several people who were part of the local gang, some people that were on parole, and a bunch of people who were under the influence of heroin. It was really sad.
We have so many cases where an elderly person is living in their own home, they own the home outright, and their children or their grandchildren or a caregiver slowly takes over. And the elderly person becomes the prisoner in their own home.
Elder mistreatment means to me, it means self-neglect, where an elder is not able to take care of himself or herself, and it means neglect by others.
A lot of times caregivers can speed up the process or even facilitate the process where an elder dies earlier than they would.
When I look back on my dad's life, how interesting it was, the time I really treasure his stories. He's a Pearl Harbor survivor. He told me what Pearl Harbor was like being in the Navy. That Sunday morning when they're at church and they see these planes flying over and they just thought it was a practice. And then he says to me, why were they practicing on Sunday? And of course then everything just broke loose on Hawaii. And then later in life, after the war, he got a job with the Yellow Pages and ended up in sales, which he was very good at. And he was with the Yellow Pages for, 35 years. I don't think he ever missed a day. And this can happen to anybody, and I never thought it would certainly happen to me or my dad. Everything was going smooth. In October of '07, I hired her at $250 a month just to take him to the doctors or take him to the grocery store so he could buy food or whatever, and that type thing. November comes. Now I'm getting all his financials. I get a credit card statement. A trip to Chicago for $485 on my dad's credit card. $1,350 for a 10% down payment on a timeshare in Las Vegas. A ladies' President Rolex watch. A diamond ring for $7,400. So now I'm going, wait a minute. So I go to my dad and I said, did you give her permission to use your credit card to book all these things? He was shocked and he said, no, I'd never do that.
We went through a number of conversations and meetings regarding the case, and eventually we then filed charges against the caregiver.
He loses his own self-esteem. He's losing weight. He's upset and crying all the time. His comment to me, because I'm old, she thinks I'm stupid.
There's a real pattern to these type of cases. Generally the caregiver endears themselves to the elder, whether it be a man or a woman, and is able to then manipulate the elder in a fashion that a lot of times the children are just almost amazed by.
Your actions betrayed someone who genuinely loved and cared about you. You not only broke his spirit, you broke his heart. And she was a direct contribution to his death.
I've seen cases of elder mistreatment where elders simply have died as a result of that.
Just waking up in the morning and knowing that nothing bad is going to happen to you necessarily. It's a very basic thing.
Yes. I love my grands, the children. They make me happy. And I love to see them happy too. Since I retired now, and I help out my daughters with my grands, because I think with a grandmother, a good grandma, you have the love for them, you watch out for them. And that keeps me going. The abuse started when they took the children from my daughter and put them in foster care. And then my daughter had like a resentment towards me. She'd be very like violent, you know, always want to fight. And she always was threatening to kill me. And this last time I was going downtown with my granddaughter and my grandson to do a petition for custody. And I don't know how she found out I was going that morning. But as we were leaving my apartment to go on the elevator, she was coming out. And she tried to pull my granddaughter, and I was holding her, and she started fighting me. I felt real bad, because it was my daughter, and she didn't have to go that route. You don't expect that from your family members. I would never in 100 years, if somebody would have told me in this lifetime that I would be facing this, I would say no. I cried at night, and sometimes I wish I could just go away.
Elder mistreatment means to me elder abuse or physical abuse and complete loss of dignity for an older person.
I think one important thing for us all to remember and to help people know and understand is just because people change, and maybe they're not as we knew them when they were our parents, and now they may not have all their faculties, that they haven't stopped existing as a person, and you don't have any right to pretend they don't exist and use their assets as if there's a better use for them than for them.
He was a loan officer at the Bank of America. He had gone to a reunion in Lebanon, Tennessee, and had left, I would say, 4 or 5 days early. And he stopped at Las Vegas. And I think it was there that he met a woman in one of the casinos. And when he did come home, I realized that things had changed.
I received a phone call from Pat's nephew, who had attended a lecture that I had given on financial elder abuse, and called and said that something is wrong.
When Wilson was, or had met Jamie, I think that it was the beginning of Alzheimer's. I feel that she did take an advantage of his mental condition.
In the course of the investigation, there surfaced 28 credit cards, 15 cell phones. There were 20 stamps.com accounts that had been set up. It was very clear to us at the time that the Wilson Smith family was supporting some sort of illegal business operation. So that you know, there was approximately $750,000 involved with this case. It is an open investigation with the FBI. When someone has abused you and taken your information, you basically feel at a moment that there is nothing safe any longer.
Elder mistreatment means financial exploitation, where those take the money and resources of other people and use it for their own good.
The seniors in our community are the people who have lived and seen this world before us. And they contributed to great things that we've all benefited from. They have stories to tell, and they have wisdom to share. And they should be highlighted as one of the achievements of a community, instead of kind of deposited as though they're residue.
We have to do more for our elders. We have to step up to the plate and enact laws that can protect them.
I don't think that anybody could walk into the homes of some of these abused and neglected elders and not take up this charge.
Imagine if someone you knew was a victim of elder abuse and you were in a position to support something that could stop it.
I know there are a lot of bigger problems in this country, but I think elder abuse is one of them.
I just live my life, simple life, and I don't tell anybody about my problems.
Because I'd always done everything for myself.
Elder abuse is a horrific crime, whether it's physical abuse, neglect, or financial scams. It takes a huge toll on that population. It happens to all elders across racial lines, color lines, language lines, socioeconomic class. It affects our whole community. And the one thing that they all have in common is that they need our help.
She virtually has no jewelry left. They'd always steal everything, whether it was money or jewelry. She was gardening out in front, and they took a TV while she was gardening in front out the back door, along with her credit cards.
It has changed me. You know, it's made me have some fear that I never had before.
I'm broke now. They did that to me. I have nothing.
If my house is foreclosed on, I'll probably have to live in my car.
If I hadn't been involved, he would have been totally fleeced by this lady.
I feel like I'm intimidated, and I feel like I'm, well, I don't like to be a victim. You know, I just go about my life like I'm not a victim, but in reality, I do feel that I am a victim.
It happens because people think older people are easy marks and easy targets. People who for years believed in the value of a handshake, the importance of your word, are becoming easy marks because they hold to those values, the values they gave us.
Freedom from elder abuse is a basic human right because all human beings should be able to live in a peaceful environment, be treated with respect and dignity, and elder abuse takes that away from older people. When abusers gain and maintain power and control over their victims, they're making choices for the victims, and they're not allowed to live with respect and kindness and dignity and make choices in their own lives.
Since we may not always hear from the victims of elder abuse and neglect, we need to know how to recognize it. And that means lots of folks need to know how to recognize it, including doctors, nurse practitioners, people in emergency rooms. We recently had a case here at the court where a bank called the police department as well as Adult Protective Services.
Every day at work, I have to review reports of abuse, and I work with a group of social workers who are very dedicated. We are vested with the responsibility to investigate the allegations of abuse, to assess the needs of the elders, and to formulate plans of actions to assist them, it has never been an easy task.
One day my mom came home from visiting her and said, "Do you know that your aunt has a security door on her bedroom now?" So I came over, I asked her to come and have lunch with me so I could get her away from all the busyness that was here. And I told her, "Do you realize what's going on?" And she was starting to realize what was and the potential of happening. And from there I had received the cards on the social workers and the adult protective services and such, and it all went from there. And thank God, because I couldn't have done it without their help.
She had a situation where her home was taken over. We arranged to have 7 restraining orders placed on the 7 addicts that were living here. We have so many cases where an elderly person is living in their own home, they own the home outright, and their children or their grandchildren or a caregiver slowly takes over. And the elderly person becomes the prisoner in their own home. With the efforts of APS and Legal Assistance for Seniors, we're able to keep her in her house. The goal in APS is to encourage our clients to live in the least restrictive environment.
Our responsibility is to help people remain in their homes, if at all possible.
There are lots of similarities, I think, between elder abuse, child abuse, and domestic violence. The key one being that it's often a family member or someone who has an ongoing relationship with the victim, who's the abuser, that ongoing relationship often involving love or an expectation of trust. It makes these situations more complicated than stranger violence because the victim is wanting to keep the family together in some ways, is hoping that the abuser will change their behavior.
An elderly woman, 78 years old, got into a verbal argument with her son when he came home intoxicated. The son picked up a chair and struck her 3 times over the head. She fell dizzy. Her husband called the police. The paramedics responded and treated her at the scene. This is not the first time that her son hit her, but this is the first time it was reported to the police. The police arrested the son and granted an emergency protection order. We found out there were previous reports on her, but she refused to cooperate and resist to accept help. She might resist because she loved her son. She will protect and financially support her son no matter what her son has done. We work to get a permanent restraining order. Home is the place where people should feel secure. Unfortunately, it is not true for elders being abused. Unlike kids, they attend school and they have people around them. Elders are alone. They have little interaction with the outside world. The isolation and feeling of loneliness put them in a very vulnerable situation.
And people take advantage of them, and they physically hurt them. They fail to take care of them when older people become frail and need help. They take their money, they steal their assets, and they steal their dignity. People who are victims of all forms of elder abuse are going to die sooner than they should have just because of the trauma they go through. This is a crime.
My dad had a great life, except for the last 5.5 months of his 94.5 years. Since my stepmom's death in 2000, my dad also enjoyed a wonderful social life in his Aptos neighborhood. He was befriended by a handful of neighbors who took a loving interest in him and provided a life-enriching flurry of activities, parties, dinners, and just basic company. However, his life was shattered as if a glass had fallen off from this podium when he learned that his love, trust, and friendship for his neighbor had been betrayed. His health took a downward spiral. He was depressed and distraught. My dad was a very proud man, and now he spent his days crying and questioning his own judgment. His statement, "Because I'm old, she thinks I'm stupid," was painful to hear. I almost wish his dementia had been bad enough to protect him from figuring this out. But he knew, and it destroyed him. He soon lost the will to continue his fight for his own health issues. My dad deserved to spend the last 5.5 months of his life in peace, surrounded by those who he loved and who loved him. And this is when I look at her directly. Your actions betrayed someone who genuinely loved and cared about you. You not only broke his spirit, you broke his heart. And she was a direct contribution to his death.
In some cases, you have older adults who may no longer have capacity, and this is another way that elder abuse is different than working with younger domestic violence victims, for example, that you have people who may need more assistance because of physical limitations or cognitive limitations.
An 86-year-old Russian-speaking man was unduly influenced by his caretaker into changing his will, into almost buying a house for a caretaker, for the same caretaker, into adult adoption. So my client was about to adopt an adult caretaker in order to legalize the transfer of everything that my client owns to caretaker. Adult Protective Services investigated this case, and as a result, my client is safe right now. He's conserved by one of his real sons.
In my opinion, there's no one safe from elder abuse. My suggestions to someone who discovers that there may be some elder abuse in their family is go to the county first. Seek any nonprofit organization that you can, and that's exactly what we had experienced, is someone being able to take it wholeheartedly and saying, what do we need to do and what are the issues, and then stayed with us for a while, not just, okay, here's what you need to do, the information, and figure it out. But instead they actually helped us and worked with us.
And people better get a clue. That's one thing we know. We're all going to get old. And we're all going to be potential victims. And this is of epidemic proportions. A lot of this is never reported. People feel embarrassed. They feel like they've made stupid mistakes, not only for the victim, but the people watching over them. I felt a little bit of that. How could I be so stupid not to pick this up? But we're all vulnerable.
I know that our local, and in many of the adult protective services agencies in California, for example, are underfunded. They're understaffed. The reality is that for those offices to be able to do their work, that we can't have social workers sitting at a desk filling out paperwork. We need to have enough support and resources there so that they can actually leave the desk and go out and knock on the doors and check on the seniors in our communities. And in that way, we, I think, would be more effective in being able to engage in prevention, or at least early intervention, when there's a case of suspected senior abuse. And so that's a very specific aspect of how we work as a system that if we focused on, I think we'd actually improve what we're doing.
I wasn't familiar with adult protective services, and I think more people should be.
And you've been great service to me, so I really appreciate what you're doing.
I would say to advocates for elders, never give up. Don't give up. Never give up. That's what I would say.
The road that we travel on may seem long and weary.
Did you know that the rate of elder abuse is 24 times higher than the number of cases that are reported to social services, law enforcement, and legal authorities? Up next is a special segment on elder abuse and the many types of elder abuse. Unfortunately, many senior citizens are at risk of being exploited even by their own family members. You don't want to miss this, so stay tuned.
Well, you can't. She's just not up to seeing visitors today or tomorrow. Well, it's just not possible. She's not seeing anybody, and she doesn't want to see anybody. No, not even you. You'll just have to wait until she feels better.
Ed, come here. I want that.
Now,
Ed!
now she's up again and calling me. I have to hang up. I'll call you soon when she feels better. Listen, Mom, you're just not in a position to have visitors right now. Maybe once you sign the documents, you'll feel better.
But I'm feeling fine.
Mom, we both know you'll feel better once you sign the house over to me. I just don't want you feeling overwhelmed with the burden of the house on your mind. All right. You might as well just go to your room then. Because we have nothing else to talk about until you sign. And you're not seeing any visitors until this is sorted out.
Oh, I hate these things.
Here, let me do it. What's your PIN number?
1970, your birth year.
Hi, Gloria.
Oh, hi, dear. How are you doing?
It's not working. We'll try again tomorrow.
But Mom, you had money in your pocket.
Come on, I don't want to hear about money we don't have. Let's go. Come on, let's go.
Mary. Mary. Oh, I'm hungry. Are you on your way out to the store again?
Oh, hey guys.
Oh, Phil, you're back. How was school today?
Oh, there's no school today, Gramps. Just practice.
Okay, I am on my way out. Dad, you stay comfortable. I'll grab some food and bring it back later.
But Mary, I'm hungry now.
You'll be fine for a little bit, Dad. I'll hurry, okay? Can you get your grandpa a glass of water and take him back to his room? Here, Dad, make sure you take your pill today too, okay?
I thought I already did.
No, and you missed yesterday too, so just take a couple of extra. He'll be fine, he just needs a nap.
What'd you say?
Nothing, Dad. You make sure to have a lie down. Okay, I'll see you guys when I get back.
All right, come on, Gramps. Let's go. All right. Almost there, Gramps. Almost there. All right, and... Oh, yeah, there you go. There you go, Gramps. Let's go.
Wait, you're not gonna just leave him like that, are you?
He'll be fine.
I don't know, man. That just doesn't seem right.
He'll be fine. My mom gave him something that's gonna help him sleep for a while. Come on, we're gonna be late for practice.
You know what? I just remembered. I gotta go home first and get my cleats. So I'll just meet you there, okay?
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'll see you there.
Okay.
or someone you know is experiencing elder abuse, please call the Family Violence Information Line. Elder abuse. Learn the signs, break the silence.
We hope that you enjoyed our show today. If you would like more information on family caregiving and elder abuse, and most importantly, how to prevent elder abuse, please log on to our website at caregivingandyou.com for more information. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter for daily updates. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you next week on Caregiving and You.